I do rather die in detention than to face trial by biased judge or court. I do rather die in detention than face trial by biased judge or court. Nnamdi Kanu. Let me repeat that. Kanu vowed that if it will take the rest of my life in detention to produce me before a proper and impartial court, so be it. Nnamdi Kanu writes open letter to the public. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me in this video. After the last court proceedings of Nnamdi Kanu, where he refused that Justice Binta Nyako will not preside over, the case because she have recused herself from the trial. So, and there have been a lot of misreactions. Some people are saying what Nnamdi Kanu did is very right, and some people are saying he should have just allowed them to try him. So there have been a lot of misreactions on the Nigerian internet space. However, the Southeast politicians have not reacted to it. You can see that you have never seen a public statement from any Southeast politician regarding the trial. They are mute. So they are, I would say that they really know what was about to happen before then, because before now, from last year down, there have been a lot of speculations from them, lying to the general public that they are meeting Tinubu, they are meeting this, they are negotiating for KANU'S release. But when the time to talk now comes, all of them gone mute. So that is the highest deception. If I tell you people not to trust most of the politicians, there are only few of them who are good, okay? Don't trust most of them. This is what it is, because they don't have the integrity. Now Nnamdi Kanu has come out to say that I do rather die in detention than to face trial by biased judge or court. I do rather die in detention than face trial by biased judge or court. Nnamdi Kanu. Now, what happened? Let us go to the details of this developing news. The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra POB, Nnamdi Kanu, has declared that he would prefer to remain in detention for the rest of his life rather than to be tried by a corrupt and biased court or judge. Out of the article. You see, one thing I love Nnamdi Kanu for, and you cannot take that away from him, is that he is what he says he is, and he is what people think about him. When he says, I do rather die than to face judgment, than to face trial by a biased judge or court, he knows what he's talking about. And then Nnamdi Kanu don't care how many years or months he stays in detention. What he's after is, it is not Nnamdi Kanu. You can't do this. You can't carry out this called a judicial coup on me. And that is what he has been maintaining. He is bold like lion in the face of his trial. Now, the article continues that Kanu made this statement in an open letter to the public, which he personally signed from his detention at the Department of State Service DSS. The letter was made available through his special counsel, Barrister Anoy Ejemako. Out of the article. Now, I know that the DSS will be happy when they hear that Nnamdi Kanu says, I do rather stay in detention than for me to face trial by a biased court or judge, because Omoyole Showre told us about a secret that every time DSS is bringing in Nnamdi Kanu to court, they spent 500 million naira. They spent 500 million naira. I think that is a very, very corrupt business, a good corrupt business for that matter. Now, let's continue with this article. Say, Kanu vowed that if it will take the rest of my life in detention to produce me before a proper and impartial court, so be it. Let me repeat that. Kanu vowed that if it will take the rest of my life in detention to produce me before a proper and impartial court, so be it. Now, let's continue. But let me say this for the world to know. I will not succumb to any trial conducted by any judge or court whose jurisdiction does not pass constitutional muster. Not now, not ever, he said in the letter. Let me repeat this one still. But let me say this for the world to know. I will not succumb to any trial conducted by any judge or court whose jurisdiction does not pass constitutional muster. Not now, not ever, he said in the letter. Now he says, I have been compelled by the events of the past few days to take the unusual step of writing this open letter for the singular purpose of calling the attention of the general public to the serial executive and judicial fraud being perpetrated against me since my extraordinary rendition in 2021, Kanu said. He recalled that the judgment entered on March 1, 2017. The Federal High Court in Abuja ruled that the IPOB is not an unlawful group. This landmark ruling made by the court before it turned unjust emanated in criminal proceeding that require proof beyond reasonable doubt, and in which the federal government and my humble self presented our perspective cases. And that's instead of the federal government to go on appeal as the law mandated if they are dissatisfied with the judgment. The former Attorney General Abubakar Mandami went behind closed door with a letter signed by Nate Abakiria and got IPOB proscribed and tagged a terrorist group in an ex parte proceeding conducted without notice to me or to the IPOB. You see the injustice? The abominable incident was the earlier sign yet that the government and its judiciary have struck an unholy and fraudulent alliance to deny me my rights and thereby imperil the lives and liberty of millions who identified with IPOB. He further recalled that on October 26, 2022, the Federal High Court declared his extraordinary rendition and detention as unconstitutional. According to the IPOB leader, the court stated that the manner of arrest and detention of the applicant Mazi in Kenya, his continued detention in Abuja, his subjection to physical and mental trauma by the respondents, the inhuman and degrading treatment meted out to the applicant amounts to a brazen violation of the applicant's fundamental rights, the dignity of his persons, and threat to his life under the Section 34(1)(a) of 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. He quoted the court as saying. He noted that the court further ordered the Nigerian government to apologize to him and pay him compensation. KANU said, in a responsible and well-ordered society run by a responsible government, this judgment is sufficient to have ended my lengthy detention and encourage the federal government to constructively engage me on the issues of self-determination that triggered the whole saga. Now, out of the article, you see, Nigeria is a place where you can have different kind of judgment in one particular issue. The Nnamdi Kanu case is something that opens up on all these things. The Federal High Court in Enugu, in Abia, in Abuja before gave a different judgment. Overnight, after giving the same judgment, they have a party order from the same court from another judge again. As in, all these shenanigans supposed not to be happening now. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. So sometimes these are the reasons why people look at Nigeria and see Nigeria like a place where people who don't obey law finds very good, very comfortable to live, because law don't work in the country. Now they cannot continue to say that on October 13, 2022, the Court of Appeal held that courts must never shy away from calling the executive to order when they resort to acts of executive lawlessness. Quoting the Court of Appeal, he said, the duty of the court is to maintain a balance between ensuring the law and order is obeyed and the protection of the individuals from oppressive actions by the executive. By the forcible adoption and extraordinary rendition of the appellant, Mazi from Kenya, to the contrary, on the day of June 27, 2021, in violation of international and state laws, the lower court, or indeed any court in this country, is divested of jurisdiction to entertain charges against the appellant. That is what the Court of Appeal said when they discharged him acquitted, that by the virtue of kidnapping this man down to Nigeria, no court has the jurisdiction to try him, and that is how it's supposed to be now. KANU noted that despite the clarity of the appeal court judgment and his comportment with reason, the Nigerian government refused to release him from detention. If went behind closed doors and connived, with the three other justices of the Court of Appeal who fraudulently and swiftly sat on appeal over the judgment and practically destroyed it by issuing what they term a stay of execution, he added. One may ask, is it not abominable for court to stay a judgment the government already disobeyed? He said. Now, let me stop the article here. The article continues. The later Nnamdi Kanu road continues. I will drop the link for you to see. I'll drop the link on the comment section. But all his statement and what he's trying to, the message he's trying to pass is obvious, okay? It's obvious. The federal government are not trying Nnamdi Kanu. They are persecuting him. So they are just trying everything, all possible means, just to make sure that they kill the man. But it's not going to happen, okay? What we are seeing is not just judicial rascality, but the executive rascality. And don't blame the don't blame the federal government alone. The Igbo leaders are very well responsible for these things going on, okay? But let's see how it goes. I think the detention of Nnamdi Kanu needs a new strategy, okay? Anyone who wants to support Nnamdi Kanu to make sure that he got justice, and it needs a new strategy. People need to re-strategize and know what to do. But Nnamdi Kanu is not bothered as far as the right thing is not being done. According to him, I do rather die in detention than to face a biased judge or a criminal court. Let me know what you think on the comment section.
Da muke kira don girman Allah a raba Najeriya. Don girman Allah a taimake mu a raba Najeriya. Mu ina magana da yawun musulmi kuma ina magana da yawun 'yan arewa. Mu a matsayinmu na musulmi ba mu da buƙatar zama da inyamurai. Ba mu da buƙatar zama da inyamurai. Ibo ba abokin zama ba ne, ba mutanen arziki ba ne. Bari in ba ku misalai kaɗan don mu wuce. Ka duba ka ga yadda mutanen da suke arziki a ƙasanmu. Na yi magana a ce wani hate speech. Ko ba ka ke cewa ba, wai hate speech. Ai mu speech ɗin kawai muke yi. Su kashe mu suke yi. Kwanan nan aka kama Ibo yana yin muryar Fulani. Muryar Fulani yake yi yana kashe mutane da sunan Fulani. Ba mu ba, Takumbo Asari ya fito ya ce babu wani bafulatani da yake kashe mutane a ƙasar Ibo. Ƙarya ake, me yasa su Fulanin ba su kashe su ba? Me yasa kadai ƙasar Ibo suke kashewa? Ba gaskiya ba ne. Wannan wani sharri ne, in ji shi fa, wani sharri ne da Ibo suka ƙulla. Ba mutumin da yake da greediness, tsabagen son zuciya kamar Ibo. Duk inda ka zauna da shi sai dai ya cuce ka kafin ku zauna lafiya. Wannan yasa ba mu da bukatar zama da su. Sun cika Kano, sun cika Katsina, ga su a Sokoto, sun cika Abuja, ga su a Naija, ko ina Ibo sun cika, amma su ba ka zama ganin su ka zauna lafiya. Mun yi wannan kalubale kuma muna ƙara yi. A gwada mana wata kasuwa guda ɗaya wadda aka gina a ƙasashen jihohin Ibo wanda musulmi ɗaya ke da shago, wanda ɗan arewa ɗaya ke da shago. Idan akwai a nuna mana. Muna son a nuna mana wani musulmi ɗan arewa da yake zaune a ƙasar Ibo yana zaune lafiya. A nuna mana shi. Kenan babu. Waɗannan mutane menene amfanin zama da su? Muna kira ga gwamnati a yi tsarin da za a yi don Allah a raba mu da Ibo, a raba mu da inyamurai, su kama gabansu, mu kama gabanmu a zauna lafiya. Irin wannan kisa da suke mana, kisan gilla, a nuna mana yaran mu kwance cikin jini, muna cewa mabiya su yi haƙuri. Wallahi akwai radda za mu sako su mu ce ku koya musu hankali. Ƙasar ta daɗe bata watsi ba. Idan ku gwamnati ne sai ku gwada mana a ranar ku gwamnati ne. Kenan akan mu kuke gwada ku gwamnati ne. Wai ana cewa unknown gunmen sunansu kenan. 'Yan bindigar da ba a san su ba, wallahi mu ma muna iya ƙirƙiran 'yan bindigar da ba a san su ba. Domin me abin da aka ce karen bana maganin zoman bana, to kaji haka karatun yake. Wannan abin da ake yi ana sane. Gwamnonin Ibo, gwamnonin jihohin Ibo suna sane, da gangan suke bari ana kashe mutanenmu. Da gangan suke bari, suna sane. Duk wanda ya ce ba sani ba ƙarya yake yi, sun sani. Gwamnatin tarayya tsoronsu kuke ji ko yaya ne? Idan faranmu ya ɓaci, al'amura za su ɓaci. Kuma dole mu ga mu gaskiya. Ku kuma 'yan arewa, musamman manyan arewa waɗanda suke fama da mugun munafurci. Wai mutum bai san Allah bane ar-Razzaqu. Wai idan an rabu ba mu da man fetur. Man fetur ɗin me? Menene ko man fetur? Ana magana imani, kana magana man fetur. Saboda kai baka san Allah ba, mu ɗauka ma ba mu da man fetur, sai me? Su kawo man fetur su saida mana. Mu saida musu akuya, mu saida musu bunsuru, mu saida musu rago, mu saida musu shanu, mu saida musu masara, mu saida musu wake. Ciniki ba haramun bane. Idan inyamuri zai shigo yankin mu sai yayi biza. Idan muka kama shi ba biza mun nakaɗa mai ɗan uban kashi. Wallahi haka za a yi. Ba mu da buƙatar zama da inyamurai. Kuma ko kun kira mu so 10 kun ja kunnen mu, haka za mu gaya muku. Na san kuna jina. Mu ba mu buƙatar zama da inyamurai. Muna fatan a raba Najeriya kowa ikama gefensa, ba mu bukatar zama da inyamurai. Idan ko ba haka ba, ku tsawata musu akan kashe mutanenmu, wallahi za mu ɗauki mataki. Amma wallahi ba za a ci gaba haka ba. Yanzu nan bayanin da ake mana a majalisar limamai, a nan Lafai ta jihar Naija, Lafai ina ce? Tsakiya arewa ce. Aka samu inyamuri ya kama yarinya musulma ya kai ta ɗaki kwana 3, ya kwalkwala idanunta, ya kwalkwala farjinta, ya ainihin kashe ta, yanke hannunta. Ya jama'a, yanzu don Allah idan aka samu bahaushe ɗaya ko musulmi ɗaya a ƙasar Igbo ya kama ɗiyarsu, ya yanke mata idanu, ya mata ta'addanci, ya kuke ganin za a ƙare?
So we heard that some of the items they took from the Prime Minister, they are returning them. They are yet to send out any indictment. The one that we saw, I think last week, where they now said that it has something to do with a charge on the use of a name like Masters of Law, something like that. We understood that that is not true. That there's no charge like that. Maybe some nonsensical press inside Finland, those that hate us and hate our Prime Minister, working inside Finland, they are the one that published that, and we're told to just neglect that, because all of us were waiting on Monday for Finland to charge our Prime Minister for the Master of Law case. We didn't see anything, area of any indictment or anything, because we know our Prime Minister didn't do anything wrong. He is doing exactly what we are doing. All the killings that the Southeast and South delegitimized governors are doing, that is what our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa was preventing. That is what Nnamdi was preventing. And the whole world have seen how Finland took away our Prime Minister. And within that period, hundreds of innocent Biafrans have been murdered by Christopher Musa and Tinubu, using the reintegrated terrorists that they imported into the Nigeria territory. That is what is going on. And that is something that Biafrans have risen up and said, no more. So we are still waiting for Finland to accuse our Prime Minister of anything. They've held our Prime Minister, going to almost 3 months, 90 days. He did not commit any crime. But from what Finland has done, we have now discovered there is a history of what Finland is doing to suppress Christians, to suppress freedom of speech, and to destroy innocent Biafrans using the globalist agenda, which Finland is part of right now. That is what Finland is doing. Prime Minister Simon Ekpa has not committed any crime. You put him away, now going to 3 months, because you partner with Nigerian state, a terrorist state that have very, very low score and record in human rights. Finland is now part of that. That is exactly what they are doing. How else could one explain holding our Prime Minister for almost 90 days without indicting him yet? You isolate him. You want to break him psychologically. And you think we are just going to sit down and watch you and your cohorts in Nigeria. Your cohorts in Nigeria, they will get it real hard. It's a promise. It's a promise. Because at the end of the day, we know this battle between Nigeria and Finland and Biafra, we are going to see how it's going to end up. So we heard that some of the items they took from the Prime Minister, they are returning them. They are yet to send out any indictment. The one that we saw, I think last week, where they now said that it has something to do with a charge on the use of a name like Masters of Law, something like that. We understood that that is not true. That there's no charge like that. Maybe some nonsensical press inside Finland, those that hate us and hate our Prime Minister, working inside Finland, they are the one that published that, and we're told to just neglect that, because all of us were waiting on Monday for Finland to charge our Prime Minister for the Master of Law case. We didn't see anything, And again, what Finland is doing is unacceptable. We have those innocent Biafrans that they picked up with our prime minister. They are still in bondage in Finland. Those innocent individuals can still not use their bank account, can still not get a job, can still not do so many things inside Finland. And some of them, they have their name on the terrorist list by the Finland government. How can you put somebody's name in a terrorist list and you've not even indicted that person as a terrorist? What country does that? You've not gone through the normal process of law. You've not proven that these innocent Biafrans, that they are terrorists. You, Finland government, you went and put the name of these innocent Biafrans under the terrorist list. Why should you do that? And you think the world does not know what you are doing? You think Donald Trump does not know what you are doing? You've not charged somebody as a terrorist. Now you put the name anywhere they go in Finland, anything they seek for is being denied because the Finland government has put their name on the terrorist list without even indicting them. How can we say the world, we want to make the world a better place, when we have country leaders that are criminals, criminalizing innocent citizens, and they are the heads of governments? And you think you will go free?
What a wonderful question, the anchor of this great platform. First and foremost, I want to say, someone has come out to say, or has outlined countless times that he said that the Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun for the second time. Now when he said that, see, Nigerian government cannot win Biafra with a barrel of gun, it means that nobody needs to die for them to exit Nigeria. Now, Ojogun fought Biafra in a different dimension. Now, Mazi did it via his own dimension. So everybody is taking it globally. And now, we've seen world body recognize Biafra. We've seen the UN and then some other global body have come out to endorse